The streets of Seattle, Washington always smelled of rain. Even in summer, gray clouds hovered above the city, as if the sky itself was always on the verge of tears. People hurried through their routines, commuters with earbuds in, tourists holding cameras, students with backpacks heavy with dreams. But tucked away in the quiet corner of Pike Place Market, there stood an old bookshop called Harper's Pages. For most people, it was just another store among the fishmongers, coffee stalls, and flower vendors. But for Claire Bennett, it was her sanctuary. Claire was 23, a literature student finishing her last year at the University of Washington. Shy and soft-spoken, she worked part-time at Harper's Pages, stocking shelves and organizing worn-out novels that smelled of history. Her world was small but comforting, the sound of pages turning, the hum of quiet jazz from the shop's speakers, the rain tapping gently against the windows. Yet, behind her quiet demeanor, Claire carried a loneliness she rarely admitted. Her friends often teased her for living like an old soul. But Claire knew she wasn't avoiding life. She was just waiting for something, though she couldn't name what. One Tuesday afternoon, the bell above the shop door chimed, and Claire looked up from the counter. A young man stepped in, shaking raindrops from his jacket. His dark hair was damp, and his eyes held a restlessness that made him seem like he didn't quite belong anywhere. His name was Daniel Hayes, 25, an aspiring journalist who had just moved to Seattle from Chicago. He came searching for a rare biography of a war correspondent, hoping the quiet shop might have it. "Can I help you find something?" Claire asked, her voice polite but tinged with shyness. Daniel smiled faintly. "Only if you've got miracles in stock." The way he said it made her laugh softly, and for a brief moment, the silence between them felt less heavy. She guided him through the aisles, her fingers brushing the spines of books as she searched. Finally, she handed him a faded copy of the very biography he had been looking for. "You're kidding," Daniel said, his eyebrows lifting in surprise. "I didn't think I'd actually find this here." Claire shrugged, a small smile tugging her lips. "Sometimes the right book is just waiting for the right person." Neither of them knew then how true that would be, not just for the book, but for each other. Over the next few weeks, Daniel kept returning to Harper's Pages. At first, he claimed it was for research, but slowly his reasons became less about books and more about conversation. He would linger at the counter, asking Claire about her favorite authors or teasing her for being too serious when she shelved books alphabetically with perfect precision. One rainy evening, Daniel found her sitting at a table in the back of the shop, scribbling notes in a worn notebook. "Writing a novel?" he asked. Claire blushed, quickly shutting the cover. "Just thoughts. Nothing important." "Everything in there is important," Daniel said gently. "Even if it's just one sentence, one idea. Words are never wasted." His sincerity disarmed her. She had never shared her private writing with anyone, but something about Daniel made her want to. That night, she read him one of her poems, simple, raw, about the sound of rain echoing loneliness. Daniel listened intently, not interrupting. When she finished, he said, "That's not loneliness, Claire. That's honesty, and honesty is rare." Her cheeks warmed, and for the first time in a long time, she felt seen. As weeks turned into months, Claire and Daniel grew inseparable. They walked through Seattle's hidden streets, explored secondhand shops, and sat for hours at coffee houses with notebooks spread out between them. Daniel confided in her about his struggles, how his journalism career felt uncertain, how he sometimes feared he wasn't good enough to write stories that mattered. Claire, in turn, revealed her fear of living too small a life, of never stepping beyond the bookshop walls. "You don't have to be loud to live big," Daniel told her one evening as they stood by the waterfront. the city lights shimmering across the water. You just have to live true. Claire didn't respond immediately, but she held his words close, like a bookmark in her heart. But life, like weather, didn't stay calm forever. One afternoon, Daniel came to the shop with heavy news. His editor had offered him a chance to work on a long-term assignment in New York City. It was a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity, the kind of break every journalist dreamed of. Claire's heart sank. She wanted to be happy for him, but the thought of him leaving left her hollow. "You have to take it," she said, forcing a smile. "This is what you've worked for." "But what about us?" Daniel asked, searching her eyes. Claire lowered her gaze. "We'll figure it out." But deep down, she doubted. She had always feared good things slipping away,